Designed by Robert Riddles, the BR Standard 4 260, nicknamed Moguls, were based on an earlier Ivet LMS design, known as Flying Pigs. Over 115 of the class were built between 1952 and 1957 at Horwich and Doncaster Locomotive Works. 76017 was completed in June 1953 at Horwich, and was allocated from new to the Southern region, being initially based at Eastleigh Shed. While there she performed freight, semi-fast or all stopping turns from Southampton to Bournemouth. Most of the class were either allocated to Eastleigh, Southampton or Bournemouth, and worked both passenger and freight trains around the area. Their most celebrated duty was hauling the Waterloo to Lymington boat train. The Moguls were chosen as they were the most powerful class of locomotive that were also short enough to fit on the turntable at Brockenhurst after they had taken the train to Lymington. 76017's life was not without mishap. On the 23rd of September 1954, while working the 0700 Banbury to Eastleigh goods, the driver lost control, and the locomotive ran through catch points designed to derail runaway trains and down the embankment. No one was hurt, and the loco was rescued by the Eastleigh and Fratton cranes after waiting for 17 days, this being reported at the time in the Hampshire Chronicle. From March 1955, the Eastleigh Standard 4s began working trains over the Somerset and Dorset line, with local trains from Bournemouth to Bath and Templecombe. In February 1960, the loco moved from Eastleigh to Salisbury, where she stayed until withdrawal in July 1965 and was sold to the Wooden Brothers for scrapping. The loco remained at the scrapyard for a number of years before being acquired by the Standard 4 Preservation Group and taken to the Buckinghamshire Railway Centre at Quainton in January 1974. A few years later it moved to the Mid-Hants Railway, and after restoration was completed, made its inaugural run in public service in May 1984. And the rest is history. The locomotive ran for a number of years before having to be withdrawn for overhaul, and thanks to the hard work and dedication of our staff and volunteers here, she was brought back to life, and we still have a few years left in the old girl. Now, the locomotive itself was designed not exclusively as a passenger or freight locomotive, but to be capable of doing both passenger and freight trains equally well. Doesn't sound like a huge achievement, but there is a difference. You see, hauling a passenger train compared to hauling a freight train were two very different disciplines. A freight locomotive, such as the S15, needed to be capable of starting heavy loads and then essentially would plod along between stations, being routed off occasionally to let a faster train pass. So freight locomotives have smaller wheels because if you have smaller driving wheels, you get more traction. Granted, you substitute traction for speed, but freight locomotives, you weren't really going to be going 100 miles an hour anyway. Passenger locomotives were the other way around, so large wheels, which granted you would lose a bit of traction, but you would be able to go faster, because the larger the wheel, the more distance you get per stroke of the cylinder. Passenger locomotives also had occasionally more cylinders, so Lord Nelson here has 4, has 2 on the outside and 2 on the inside, because they were essentially designed to get up to speed and just cruise. So where does the Standard 4 fit into all of this? Well, it was a mixed traffic locomotive, which was very much an in-the-middle class. They could haul either passenger or freight as long as you didn't go to those extreme ends of a spectrum. So you're not going to see this doing 100 on the Atlantic Coast Express. Equally, it's not going to haul a very heavy freight train. As part of the BR Standard class, they were designed to be easy to work with, so they had 2 cylinders on the outside of the frames, so everything was easy to access. Same with lubrication points and everything else, or as much as possible. In the cab, everything had a standardised layout, so for the driver and the fireman, so they could, in theory, effortlessly swap between locomotives, and roughly everything would be in the same place. Brilliant engines, they really were. Now, we do actually have another Standard 4 here that looks similar to the 76 with a few differences. 75079, currently under overhaul here at Ropley. A few differences. First of all, the wheel sets. whereas the 76 are a 260, this is a 460, and the wheels themselves are actually bigger. Same goes for the boiler, it's slightly bigger and based off the 80,000 tank. It actually shares a pretty similar boiler itself. It also has a double chimney. Apart from that, they have lots of similarities, so as much as possible on the outside, self-cleaning smoke boxes, rocking grates to make the driver and fireman's life a lot easier. But I think we'll do its own episode later on. Now back to the 76. Now I should probably state for the record, that tender is not the locomotive's original, because when they came to Barry to save the locomotive, the tender wasn't there. Now I'm not suggesting for a second that someone came to save a locomotive and forgot about the engine bit, hilarious as that would be. It turned out that a tender chassis with a tank cut-off made for a perfect carrier of ingots in the various steelworks that could be found around South Wales. And just like that, lots of tenders started mysteriously disappearing. Well, it wasn't mysterious, they were bought because they were dirt cheap. So this tender is actually from another Standard 4, namely 76077, which is actually being restored at the Gloucester and Warwickshire Steam Railway. Obviously they've got to source another tender now. I know I've used this phrase before, but it's still as valid with this locomotive. It is perfect for the Watercress Line. Being a mixed traffic engine, it can quite happily haul 5 or 6 coaches like our real L train with ease. And plodding along at 25 miles an hour, which you find on all heritage railways, is perfect for this type of engine. So even though it wasn't exclusively designed for the southern region, it is very much at home here, as part of the working fleet and the Mid-Hants Railway, the Watercress Line.